Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Karl Eggerss. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to talk about an important subject, long-term care. I get a lot of people ask me all the time, do I need long-term care insurance? And it's a tough thing because there's a lot of things we can plan for in financial planning. We can plan for retirement, we can plan for children's education. But when it comes to long-term care, sometimes that's a little more difficult because it's something we may not need. So today I'm going to give you a few factors to think about and then maybe some solutions to figuring out if you need long-term care. So the first thing is your age. How old are you? I see a lot of people come to me, they're thinking about buying long-term care insurance, and yet they may be in their upper 40s or low 50s. So even if they needed long-term care, it's not going to be for several years. So they are way too young to be considering long-term care insurance, in my estimation. Now, the other thing to consider is that most people won't use long-term care to its full extent. Yeah, you may go live with family members or something like that, but in terms of needing all the different things you hear about, you're probably not going to need long-term care. And so there's a lot of insurance salesmen, people like that like to scare you into purchasing long-term care insurance. We're going to talk about some of the negatives to that. And in fact, one of the good solutions here for long-term care is using the equity in your home. A lot of you in retirement may have paid off homes, and you can use that as you sell your home. You can use that equity to fund long-term care without having to buy long-term care insurance. Also, think about the fact that you may not use long-term care at all. And if you do, the average stay may be 1, maybe even 2 years. So you may have enough savings sitting around to accomplish paying and funding long-term care. So we know long-term care itself, the cost is going up dramatically every year. So how on earth can an insurance policy guarantee you pay a fixed rate today and ensure it's going to cover you 10, 15 years from now? And the answer is it probably won't. I've seen this before with my own family. In fact, I've seen this with my mother. She had a policy for years, and as it came time to start considering this, her premiums started to go up, and rather dramatically. And because her premiums went up, she would call and say, what are my options? And the insurance company would say, well, you can lower your benefits, which isn't a great solution, right? Or we can get you a new policy and we'll lock in your premiums, but we have to come check you out first. We have to give you a physical and do an exam. Well, the reason they're doing this exam is because once they see that she's healthy, they know for the next few years she's not going to need long-term care insurance, right? So they're really collecting premiums for somebody else because she's not going to use it. So it ends up being a big subsidization program where the people paying for long-term care insurance are really paying for those that are already using long-term care in the facility. So that's kind of the situation. So a lot of the people I meet end up paying on policies for years and years. They never end up really using a policy. And so oftentimes it ends up being a waste of money. And on top of that, it may not cover some of the things you really want it to cover. So you need to look at the fine print. So let's talk about some solutions, because really that's what we're trying to figure out. Number one, save. Save as much as you can to where you don't rely on long-term care insurance, and God forbid you wouldn't rely on Medicaid either. Number two is talk to your family. If you are in a situation where perhaps you may be able to live with your family for a few months or even a couple of years in case something were to happen to you and you needed long-term care help, that's a great solution. So talk to your family, get the whole family involved in this conversation. Number three, look at your home equity. It's a great source of capital to use. You sell your home and you move into some type of assisted living. That is a great solution. Also, if you need to look into insurance policies, there are hybrid policies. They're really life insurance policies, and you can tap the cash value for long-term care if you need to. In fact, you can tap the death benefit early if you need to. Those have been around for probably 15 or 20 years. You might check those out to see if that's a possibility. But again, keep in mind the cash value is going to grow at a very low rate because interest rates are low. And number two, you may not need it. But if you don't, at least you have some life insurance in force that the next generation or a spouse could end up using. Again, be careful who you talk to. If you talk to an insurance agent, more than likely you will get an insurance policy, and that's what we're trying to stop. We're trying to get you exactly what you need, and a lot of times it doesn't involve insurance, but the industry really wants to scare you into thinking you have to have long-term care insurance. And I can tell you that most of the people that I deal with on a daily basis don't have long-term care insurance, because we've done some other planning in preparation of this. Because let's be frank, there isn't a great solution, but I can tell you that a lot of times insurance isn't the answer. Thanks for joining me on this video, and we'll see you next time.